Welcome to the 97th episode of the Sawdust Nation Podcast with your hosts. Me, Nick from NPG Creations. We also have here Josh from North Country Woodworking and Nap from Nap's Naughty Works LLC. We're rolling solo dolo tonight, no guests, so we've got a lot to talk about. I know Josh is pretty upset with a few things. So Josh, you want to get into your frustrations and tell me where the bad CNC hurt you?
Well, it started in high school. No, so, I took this week off because, this weekend, if you don't know, I'm telling you now, is Mother's Day. So go get your presents, get your cards, get your flowers, book your reservations, get it done.
Get her done.
I have failed on Mother's Day so many times that I literally already booked brunch like 2 weeks ago. And I took this week off to basically catch up on orders to ensure a couple things. I don't have to work on Mother's Day. She has an entire weekend. And then two, get ahead so that at the end of the month when, I go down to Texas, I don't have to worry about anything. So that being said, Monday rolls around. I'm amped. I can't wait. I have the entire day to get in the shop. How often do you get to go out there, not have to worry about anything and just do it, right? Well, that's where I failed to realize that when you have all the time to be in the shop, stuff starts to happen. So I started doing things and I was on the table saw and, I'm in the habit of not turning on my dust collection when I'm on my table saw. It's a bad habit, but it's just one of those things where it never really bit me in the butt. Well, I'm cutting along, doing some strips and cutting down some stock and I see smoke coming from my table saw. So something, the burnt piece of wood from the blade, whatever, went down in that great old dust pile under the table saw that's been stored there. And it didn't catch on fire. Nothing caught on fire, but it was definitely some smoke. And one of two things happened. I'm getting a fire extinguisher to put in my shop now because that made me a little bit nervous. And two, I decided to hook up my dust collection to get that all out of there and, get rid of that problem. Well, when you do one thing, another thing happens. I realized that the hose was clogged. Nothing like a clogged hose, right? So I had to fix that. And then when I fixed that, I realized that the bag wasn't on too tight because it went pop and dust went everywhere. And then I realized the dust collection was full. And then I had some other issues. And long story short, it was now 2:00 and I realized I haven't done anything but mess with dust collection. So that's how that day went. As I was doing all this, I was messing with the CNC. I threw something on there real quick. I'm saying, you know what? At least I can get something done with the CNC, right? So I get it all cooking. It's looking great. It has this, when I say beautiful piece of walnut, I didn't want to even use it. I was going to keep it for myself because it was just so beautiful. And I'm using it for a facade for a shadow box. And set everything up. It's working great. I'm like, I'm going to get dinner and then I'm going to come right back out. Well, before that, let me back up a little bit. I got a package from PWN CNC and I got a new brush for my last boot that, got ate up a little bit. And I put that on and, set everything up. Dust collection was working great. I mean, I had almost no dust. Well, I'm inside in here. Well, I go out there and wouldn't you know it, the dust boot came off. The CNC bit ate through the dust boot like it was nothing, like it wasn't even there, which is pretty cool, but horrible at the same time.
I'm not for nothing, but PWN CNC spindles, if you don't have one,
well, they're pretty powerful.
Yeah.
No, and this is, okay, the dust boot, it was more my fault than anything. I didn't crank it on there. I had it good and tight, but not,
the whole tight, calibrated elbow.
Yeah, pretty much. I haven't used one in a while because, I haven't had the little brushes, right? So I go out there. I'm like, please not. So this is where I'm sitting, right? I go out there and everything moved to the right, maybe a quarter of an inch, maybe a little more. The frame around the chevron is about 1/16 on one side. So I have 1/16 of where the chevron's on and then where the frame is. And then the other side, of course, I have quite more. So I didn't carve all the way through because it was doing its pass where it was supposed to carve the last little section out, which of course it would be the last little section, right? So I'm thinking about how I'm supposed to, fix this and utilize what I have, because it ain't too bad, but it's bad. And I'm actually thinking about trying something new. And it's not all that, it's not that crazy, really. So basically, carve away where it cut through. So, like the 1/4 of an inch, and just have the facade just a little bit thinner and, utilize it that way. I'm not sure how I'm going to exactly do that. I have to definitely do some measuring and kind of messing around, or maybe I'll do it by hand. Who knows? If anything, I can always cut it down and utilize it somewhere else, but which is probably the way I'm going to go, because it'll take too long to get it right, and I'll probably mess it up worse. But long story short, I messed up a beautiful piece of walnut. And you ever get so angry where you just feel your face getting red? And like, you just don't have words, because like I'm actually, my ears are getting red right now. I feel the heat because of how angry I was. But so it wasn't the CNC, it was the damn dust boot. And that being said, I'm actually carving the Right Fight Concepts karate sign right now. It's on its last 2.5 hours, and I don't want to say how it looks because I don't want to jinx anything, but it's going in the right direction. And I'm not using a dust boot because that one's cut in half, but it's going fairly well. So
just print another one.
Yeah. Long story short, yesterday was a wash. Today I got a lot done. I didn't get the laser calibrated quite yet, but I've been utilizing it because I already have orders that I need it for. And I'm going to hint at an order that I just started talking to someone on Etsy about. They want it's around about 42 by, was it 40? Yeah, 42 by 25 inch engraving. It's huge. And my bedside is 40 by 24. So I'm already week 1, people are already asking for things bigger than the bed size. But regardless,
bigger.
Yeah, I couldn't honestly fit it in the garage, man. You know what? It's been a learning curve to kind of work around that thing. Now it's in there. If you haven't heard, I got my laser, just waiting in the inline fan. And it's working great. Like, I had to dial it in, no doubt. I mean, there's definitely an issue of cutting stuff out, but engraving wise, it's been working just fine. I was able to engrave 4 mallets in like a quarter of the time, which is insane, because I used to like have to stay up to like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. Nope. 8 minutes per carve ish, and it was done. And it's crazy. I'm really enjoying it. The learning curve on it isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. There's new things, of course. Nap helped me out when I first set it up, because I did some stupid stuff like connect tip to tip, and it didn't work well. But we worked through it, and we got it working just fine. I didn't use the directions. I looked at the directions afterwards, and it told me what to do. But it's been a great experience. I'm really enjoying it. I keep wanting to get rid of the other 2 lasers just so that I can get more space and don't have to see them anymore. I'm ready to get them out of here. But yeah, a lot going on. A lot of different orders. I've had some weird orders pop in. A lot of orders. But we'll get into that some other time. I want these guys to chime in to what's going on in their shop. So we're going to toss it over to Nap. What's going on, man?
Well, as my little name on here, if anybody can even see it, probably not. The end is near. It's kind of crazy, winding down. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 jobs left. 4.5. The one is more of a take these letters off, put new letters on, so it's not really a big deal. They wanted me to take their boards that they have hanging up in their squadron, remove some letters and put new letters on, like new titles, because the titles that were on there just didn't really apply anymore, and they just want to make it more, I guess, organized, like put their master instructors on one board, and then like their blue ropes, which is like their top tier MTIs, on another one, and they want it labeled appropriately. So I'm doing that. I turned out, last week, right after we got done recording, I finished up 3 projects in that night. I finished up the hat press with some pretty I would say arguably probably one of the more difficult epoxy jobs I had because I had a lot of small voids for, opposing colors like red, yellow, things like that. Mix orange, and luckily it went in just right that nothing mixed. I had blue and yellow poured at the same time, which makes green. So luckily for me, I didn't. Sorry about that. Luckily for me, it didn't bleed. I found out that if it does bleed a little bit, don't fret, because if you over pour, that overbleed will stay on top. So when you sand it, it goes away, and it was like it never happened. So that I did learn. I wouldn't advise doing that, as a go-to. But if you happen to accidentally start to bleed colors together, do not try to remove it with haste, because you'll end up mixing it, and then you will definitely have issues with the overall final color. So I finished that. That went out. I made 2 custom cherry behind the couch tables with plugs and stuff. I talked about it an episode or 2 ago. Those went out as well. Customer literally put them to use immediately. I'd gotten pictures not even a few hours after they'd gotten them home of all the stuff they had on them, which is pretty cool. And they fit perfect. I was like, I really hope these aren't too high. I hope they match the length that they wanted. And literally the tables, I think it was put together maybe 1 to 2 inches past where the angle goes for that corner piece on a sectional.
Yeah.
But they had a light sit right next to it. So it wasn't like it was, in the way or anything. So that was a pretty big win. And now I know how to make those. The wife wants to set. So I'll be making those when I get to Minot. Let's see what else. I did a quick Master Sergeant promotion gift. Looks like a book. And it had the chevron stripes on the front, blue epoxy, white epoxy for the star, blue for the stripes. And then I put a coin inlay on the inside with their name and then the time and date that they sewed on, and then the senior NCO charge. That was a quick turn. And I got to say, shout out to Total Boat. That fast hardener, man, I poured it maybe, I want to say 6 o'clock in the evening. It was ready to sand and be done by 10:30 in the evening. So that stuff's awesome. So if you need to do a quick epoxy job, I highly suggest using the fast hardener. But on that note, fast hardener, if you're not prepared to actually pour and have everything ready, you're going to be wasting some material, because I did that for the hat press and I used a little too much white. And what happened was when I was mixing it, I was getting ready to use it, I started with the small stuff first. Well, it started to set and I was like, well, can't do anything with that. Toss that guy out, start over. And so I had to mix a couple more pumps of epoxy, which wasn't too bad, but still, it's still a waste of material. We don't like wasting material if we can help it.
2 more pumps. That's right.
2 pump
Let's see. Now, getting into the jobs that I'm currently working on that are simultaneously in work, one of which I finished before we got on. Customer came, picked them up. A guy named Charlie at CT Rustics Designs. He had me use the Onefinity to cut him some table legs.
Charlie bit my finger.
I cut him, I think it was 24 in total, table legs.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
This is the second time he's ordered from me on this. And he said he'll probably get 1 more set for me because I convinced him to buy a Onefinity so he could do it himself. And he pulled the trigger yesterday. He was like, screw it, I'm buying one. And so he bought one. He bought the Woodworker X50. So he'll be well on his way to carving out his own scrolls for the legs of his table, which is pretty cool. Let's see. That firefighter plaque that I made, it did really well at the silent auction. However, customer did not take it. They donated it back to the firehouse. So now that piece is going to forever be in the firehouse down here in Goodfellow, Texas, which is pretty awesome. When you have something that you've made that'll be there for however long.
Yeah. Hopefully forever, man.
I mean, I hope so too. And then stuff that I'm working on, I got this Command Chief Master Sergeant box sitting above my head right now. It's on the little ledge. I ended up using Curly Cherry for the frame, beading cove edge. And then also got to use some plexiglass from one of our newfound distributors, at least new for me because I didn't really use them. Nick actually put me onto them, is Makerstock.
Makerstock.com. That's right, brother.
I'm going to tell you what, if you need to get plexiglass, get it from them, because all the different thicknesses they have, the price difference isn't a whole lot, and it's cheaper than Amazon. So I probably
and you could buy larger pieces than Amazon too most of the time.
Yep. And then not only that, they got all these plywood panelings, like project panels. So like if you're looking for, like a 2x2 or 2x3, something that you don't have to cut down a lot, they have it. It's pretty awesome. So if you get a chance, take a look at makerstock.com, and you'll find some pretty good stuff there. And not just the plexi and plywoods. There's a bunch of stuff on their site.
Yeah, they're a family business too, by the way.
That's even better. I didn't know that.
Yep. I know they're up in Pennsylvania. Sorry, I'm just
right near me.
I don't rightly know exactly. Just so I could look it up here.
I was just thinking maybe I should pay them a visit.
They're in Old Forge, PA. I don't know where that is.
So I'll say this though, even for them being in Pennsylvania and us being down in Texas, I got that stuff 2 days later.
Really?
So yeah, it's pretty quick. So I would definitely take a look at them. Got that. I have another shadow box that I pretty much got told take my time on these at this point, because the one isn't due until whenever. So pretty much it'll be due when I get done with it.
Yeah.
The Command Chief box wasn't due until almost a week and a half from now, but I'm already done with it. I'm just waiting for a flag to put in it, because they want a specific 3x5 flag put in it. So I'm going to put it in there for them. Let's see what else. I have one of my hat boxes to make, but I have to, which I don't have it in here, but I have a MTI trophy that I got to put in there with the hat. So I got to make it a little bit bigger than normal, but luckily I have a CNC now that can handle a bigger panel and, make what I need to make. I think that's it for jobs. Yeah, that's really it for jobs. I mean, I'm literally coming to the end here, which is pretty cool. Already canvassing out how I'm going to set up my next shop. House is going on the market tomorrow. That's pretty cool. I had pictures taken yesterday, and it'll probably, from what I've been told, my house will probably get sold this weekend.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive how fast they go nowadays.
Sorry, did you say this weekend?
Yeah, so he said the going rate is, and I say he, my realtor, he pretty much was like, yeah, I'm going to put your house up Wednesday night. It'll probably sell this weekend, like under contract type stuff. I was like, really?
I bet it's sold by Friday or Saturday afternoon.
And honestly,
dude, under contract.
As soon as that happens, the amount of stress will be gone, because that right there is one of the biggest stressors of selling. Then buying the next house, I've already got the inspection done, all good to go. Everything checks out. VA is going to do their appraisal in the next week or two. And then from there, I'm off to the races for that house. So we're good there. It's been kind of all just coming together. And I got some other stuff to mention, but I'll wait to mention this stuff later. It all has to do with the 100th episode. So that's about it that's going on in my shop. Nick, what you got going on, bud?
Well, I've been jobbing, making a lot of plaques the past couple of days. Trying to do everything in order so I can... I'm trying to strategically plan everything out so I can get it all done in time. I'm actually going to Illinois here in June, the beginning of June, to go visit Jesse 4 at Jesse 4 Woodworks. So that's probably where I'm going to be doing the podcast up there in June. But anyway, long story short, I'm about bingo on acrylic again, so I have to place another order at makerstock.com. Nap said they have a lot of stuff. You got to check them out. If you use a lot of veneers and or acrylic, they don't just have clear stuff. They have opaque. They have matte colored acrylics, and then on top of that, they have a laser cutting service. So you should check that out. If you don't have a laser and you want to get something cut out, they'll do it for you. I think it's pretty reasonably priced as well. But other than that, 13 plaques complete out the door over the past weekend. I've got 3 shadow boxes to finish up, or at least start. And they need to all be delivered by the middle of June. I have... let's see here. Yeah, a couple of desk ornaments and stuff like that. But just, trying to work it out. I did the fast hardener thing last night or 2 nights ago, and it worked out great. And Nap wasn't joking. If you're not ready, after once you put that hardener in the epoxy, you need to make sure that you're ready to rock and roll. Like, I'm talking, your syringes are out and at the ready, and your plaques or whatever you're putting that epoxy on, you got to make sure it's level. That was my mistake on the first one, because I didn't even have the plaque on the surface yet, like the paper surface. Because I poured over,
and it was setting as you were freaking.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh no!" So I had it start setting halfway through the pour, and I was like, "You know what? I'll just let it go, and then I'll hit it later with another, the rest with more of the same epoxy with the same pigments in it." I used the eye candy pigments, by the way, for that, and it was they're winning me over slowly. They have a lot of really nice solid color pigments, and I'm really, really liking the look I'm getting from them. Other than that though, I'm just gearing up here for the 100th episode. I don't know if anybody said anything yet, but we have, what was those IsoTunes are on the way.
Yep, IsoTune lights.
IsoTune lights are on the way. They're going to be part of our 100th episode giveaway. And if you look at our Instagram, we posted some stuff today that's a little hint at what you could potentially be getting if you're a Patreon member. So,
yeah, and on that note, with the 100th episode, we'll just kind of roll in, because that's a good segue, Nick. Good job, Nick.
Yeah, I was a transitional period.
So on this 100th episode, if you aren't aware and you haven't been, keeping up to date with everything, and maybe we haven't put stuff up for some of the stuff, but the list is pretty lengthy as far as what we're giving away. IsoTune lights, as we've just mentioned. We got Daniel over at PW and CNC giving us an air-cooled spindle. We got the Wood River planes, that shoulder plane, and that number 4.
Number 4, that's right.
We got the IG giveaway, which is the 40x60 router sled from Clean Cut Woodworking. Brent over there donated that.
What's his promo code again?
SDN Pod 22 for 5% off of his entire store, so not just the sleds. Which actually, someone recently just bought a sled from him. I believe it was B. James Designs bought a sled from him, which is pretty awesome. And then the latest entry and addition, which I got to say, hats off to you, Tim, from Gears and Fire. This dude made a Sawdust Nation Podcast exclusive end grain cutting board with custom inlays. Paduke, walnut, and maple. He spent a lot of time on that thing, like hours on that thing, to make sure it was like the best thing he could give away as far as custom work is concerned for our podcast with woodworking. So I appreciate you, Tim.
Check out his Instagram. I think we reposted some stuff as well, but not so much gears, but tons of fire on that one. That one thing's amazing.
Yeah.
He did a fantastic job on that. What else? We got Red Raven has Josh, you still have the Red Raven thing?
Oh yeah, we got
2 pins still.
We got 2 pins from Red Raven made of ebony, Paduke, and maple. They're sitting here to my right. We gave one away during a podcast, actually.
That was the Red Rocket, yeah.
We got those, and then so Nick was alluding to one of the posts that we have, and it says Jorgensen on it. Well, there's only one thing that Jorgensen, gives that, we all use. So that is possibly something going in a bag or box, depending on what we find to be the best fit for you folks as far as getting all the stuff to you. But that's maybe one of the things going in there. We also got those eye candy sample pigment boxes that we're going to distribute out and put in there. It's going to be like a random pick, throw it in there. And if you, what you get's what you get, but it's going to be, they're really nice pigments.
You'll be happy with that.
Yeah. And
Orca abrasives.
Yep. We got the Orca abrasives and pads. So if you haven't used those buffing pads yet, those are awesome.
That's what's up.
And then we have a little more abrasives going in there. Gator, sorry, I don't know why.
Gator needs his gat.
Gator Abrasives will be donating some of their the little sponge sanders that you put sandpaper on, like the hook and loop, to really get into those small spaces.
Those tight spots.
So we got those. And then, of course, you're going to get stickers from all of us. So if you don't have our sticker, well, you'll get it. But if you do have our stickers, well, you can find another place to put it on somewhere in your shop. You'll just get to see us in every corner of your shop. That's fine. And still to be determined, got a couple of little things in the works. I've contacted some folks. Hopefully we get a couple of extra little things to put in there. But other than that, that's what we're looking like for the 100th episode. It's still 3 episodes away. We could acquire more. Don't know. We're getting kind of towards the end. But people have been gracious enough to donate stuff, and we're making sure we get it to you all out there that listen to us. So we appreciate that. And then speaking of people we appreciate, and I know that we normally do this towards the end, but why not do it now since we're talking about patrons? We have 2 new patrons. And those 2 new patrons are Greg, and I'm sorry, I don't want to butcher your last name, but I'm going to go with Hiltbrunner, okay, at Hilt Builds. And Ruben Reyes at VW Too Low for You. I think that's what that is. And thank you guys for pledging to be patrons for the podcast. You're not only getting awesome content, but you're also providing us a means to, give you all good stuff for giveaway. So appreciate you.
This 100th episode is gonna be a real barn burner. So
we hope we don't burn any barns because it's gonna be in my shop, and I need my shop to not burn.
Trying to sell it. That scorch mark is not going anywhere.
Yeah, no. But yeah, so what else is going on, guys? What are the things on the horizon? I mean, that's a lot about the 100th episode, but
well, yeah, I mean, it's a huge 100 episodes is nothing to, it's an achievement for sure. I mean, doing this, we never thought we would get this far. We never really set out a goal to reach a certain episode or anything, and it's just kind of one of those things that it's kind of happened, and it's happened because the Patreons, our listeners, I mean, everyone involved. It's a community. So it is huge.
Absolutely a milestone for the podcast. So
it is.
I know not a lot of podcasts make it very long. They don't even make it to 50.
Yeah. That's not the only milestone we've reached recently either.
I was going to jump. Do you want to hit that one, Josh?
Yeah. So if you guys remember in the beginning of the year, we kind of had some goals, right? So one of those goals were to reach 30K. Well, we're past 30K. So, it's the beginning of the year. That's still.
Downloads.
Yeah, downloads. Not 30K. We're raking in the money.
Shoot, if we were raking in money, there might be something bigger than
Yeah, we're going to have to get you guys a CNC, each for one Patreon. No, kidding. Anyway, yeah, 30K downloads. We're almost approaching, 32? We're on the way now. But I think we're going to set a new goal. We're discussing before we started recording, and we're going to set 50K. We didn't expect to reach 30K this fast, and we thank you for all the listeners out there. We know we have people from around the world. We have people, in our backyards. But it takes a lot for you guys to sit down and listen to us every single week and get us those numbers. So it means you're at least enjoying the content or getting a few laughs here and there. So just a huge thank you from myself, the Sawdust Nation Podcast, and hopefully we can continue this trend and reach new heights this year. So
hey guys, I do have something we could talk about a little bit too, as far as machinery. I know that Josh has been having CNC woes. Okay, I'm sorry.
Don't put the hate on me right now. I swear, if this car messes up, I am going to go office space on my CNC. Okay? So you better not.
If you do that, hey, I'm just saying, if you do that, I want a video so we can post that.
I'm literally watching it. I don't know if you can see that, but this is my camera. I have 2 cameras on it from different angles. So if you see me sprinting out, that's why.
All right. So with that, one thing about the Onefinity, okay, that many folks have probably noticed is the cable routing system on a Onefinity. So if you consider a Onefinity, I will say there's some things you may want to consider. I ended up getting in touch with a fella / listener / friend of Daniel's with routing of cables. So he himself also makes brackets. His name's Greg, by the way. There's a lot of Gregs out there. He makes Onefinity CNC brackets to house spindle cables, all these things. So probably in this next week, I'm going to be cleaning up my setup because there's wires everywhere, and putting that tracking system behind the X-axis so I don't have anything hanging from my ceiling. Because if you've seen any of my videos, you've probably seen my rigged piece of 550 cord and 2 carabiners with an fisheye hook chilling in the ceiling, holding my my cables off the table because they're a little heavy, and the stretchy cable does not do very well with that. But definitely, as far as like things getting messed up, cable management, that's a big one, because that can definitely get in the way and make some messes for you.
Making messes. Oh, I got something else. I got a email from I forgot I actually did this. I bought a Festool router like 3 months ago. And I forgot about it because they were back ordered. Well, I got an email I got an email a couple of days ago saying, "Hey, it's shipped." I was like, "Oh, hey." It's man, for the life of me I can't remember what model it is. It's not the big bad boy. It's the one with like the pistol grip on it, if you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. But I'm super excited to get it because it has the port for the hose, the extractor hose, the dust extractor hose.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I am absolutely fed up with just blowing wood dust everywhere with my current palm routers. I have a Bosch. It's a Bosch Colt, and there's nothing wrong with it. It works great. Problem that I have is because I'm bougie, I guess, is that I was just fed up with blowing out my shop every day. So I don't know what Josh and Knapp are laughing about, but
You're just blowing wood chips, man. Blowing wood chips.
Blowing large wood chips. That's right. So I'm kind of stoked about that. I had a goal of getting something like that a while ago. My Milwaukee cordless router had a dust extraction port on it. It comes with it, but I dropped the router and it broke. So why not spend $800? No, I needed to spend $800 on another router.
I could have done it for cents.
Now I had a goal and I reached that goal, so I'm still gonna keep so here's the thing. I'm weird about routers. I will keep a bit that I use regularly in different routers. So, and it's really, I don't even know why. I'm probably still gonna end up using every last one of them and getting wood chips everywhere. But yeah, we did a count. I know for a fact, we did a count on how many routers were in our shops. I don't know if Knapp was on the podcast yet. I think it was AJ was still here, but yeah, we did a count, and since then routers have, the count has grown for each of us. I'm willing to bet that if you're out there and you have, you've been woodworking for a while, you at least have at least 3 routers.
At least. Yeah, so definitely, especially with getting the spindle from PWNCNC, that added to the arsenal. I have a roundover and a chamfer bit and 2 handheld palm routers. The last router is kind of open to receive whatever I need it to. And then have one in my router table, and then have a big old boy on standby waiting for basically whatever I need it for.
So I gotta give props to Bosch, because as far as their routers go, now I don't know too much about the rest of their tools. I know I've had a couple of Bosch tools and they've always been good, but I'm talking specifically about the routers right now. They've always been really good to me, and I have the Colt, and I also have the 2.25 horsepower plunge router from them. And I don't want to say they're affordable, because they're anywhere from like $125 to like $200 in between that price range. But for a good mid-range router, if you're looking at buying a router, check them out. At least give them a shot, because there's all the DeWalt's out there with the Triton big bastard. Which one's that? You know what I'm talking about? The big 3 horsepower one?
Yeah,
3
3
horsepower,
horse
the one
is
that Brent
trying.
uses.
But I mean, like, honestly, if you're not doing slabs with like clean cut woodworking or something like that, the Bosch routers, you just can't beat them. I have the Colt too. I've been using that is the first router that I bought for myself. The first one was a Craftsman, and that's actually my router table right now. And that thing has been going great too. But that Colt, man, like I used it. I've been using it, and like I actually give it a rest, and I use 2 DeWalt ones on standby with the 2 bits in there. But you can't go wrong. You honestly can't go wrong with a good Bosch router.
I have a Bosch in my router table right now. That one, that's what I've had. I mean, I started with a Porter cable. I still have that Porter cable.
Well, they don't make Porter cable routers anymore. So
it's a what is it? It's an antique now, but it's their heavy duty Porter cable plunge router. It was my dad's, and he gave it to me because he doesn't do stuff with it anymore. Thing still works. It's a beast. That is my standby go-to if something happens to my Bosch router, which not in the foreseeable future. So I'll have a good plunge router on standby.
Honestly, if we were naming, like, say, the 5 basic tools to have while you start off, I would say router would be definitely in there for sure. Right? They're so
at least a palm router. You know what I mean? At least a palm router.
I mean, you could do so much with them.
And I know a lot of palm routers have bases that you can buy to make them plunge routers. So, like a lot of the companies that make these smaller routers make the add-on kit that you can get to make it a plunge router, so you don't have to go buy a whole new router. You know what I mean?
Do you have the plunge base for the Colt?
I do not. I have the plunge base for the big Bosch, which is the 2.5 or 2.25 horsepower Bosch. It came in a kit. That was the first router I ever owned. My mom got it for me like 15 years ago, something like that. And I used to use that before CNC days when I would want to like route some letters out on the side of like cornhole boards and stuff like that. I would draw it out first with a pencil, and then I'd take that router and I would put like a 1/8 inch bit in there, and I'd just go around and
it's some tedious work.
Yeah,
I've
never
done that, and it could go squirrely really fast.
Oh yeah.
If with the plunge base, it has a nice set of handles on it, and it's very controllable. I found that like if you're doing like a 2x4, you gotta route out your recessed area before you actually mount it on the cornhole board. So you just like lay 2x4s next to it and clamp them. So this way you have more surface area to work with the base. But yeah,
some palm routers even have the base, like you're saying. They have the plunge router base. I have one for my Makita.
Yeah,
and I've used it a couple times. Like when, for example, an inlay for like my glass panels or whatever aren't like wide enough, I'll take a straight edge, hook that sucker up, and good to go.
But so I'm looking at the prices right now. If you buy the Colt on Amazon, you can get it with a plunge base for $195.99, which is expensive. Also, if you look at the bigger Bosch with the plunge base, you're going to pay like $239 for like the 1.25 or 2.25 horsepower. You're going to pay $239. So there's like a $40-$50 difference in there. I mean,
but it depends what you're doing too. I mean, like if you're doing fine work and stuff like that, you're not going to want to take that 2.25 horse router and use that. I mean, a nice palm router works great.
It's variable speed though.
It is, and I understand that, but like personally, I have 2 big routers and I have 4 smaller ones, and I really enjoy using the palm ones, even with a plunge base. I get the big boys out when I have to remove some stuff, more so than I do have to find detail work.
I know what I was going to say about DeWalt routers. You know how they used to come with the Inventables X-Carve? They don't do that anymore. I think DeWalt discontinued them. It's what is that? The DW 611?
651 or 611, you're right.
This is 611 router. Now they're all cordless but I think you could still get a corded one, but they're more expensive. I had one that came with my original X-Carve, and then I bought another one because I got a second X-Carve, and regardless, I kept the one in the box because I got the PWN spindle. So it's brand new in the box still. And I went to sell it at a yard sale.
Dude, that was funny. Dude, that was funny to watch.
Yeah, so this guy comes up to me at a yard sale, and this thing's brand new in the box, never actually been turned on or used or anything like that. Still got like the little twisty tie over the cord and all. And he's like, "How much you want for it?" I'm like, $100 and you can have it. He's like, "Well, I was looking for a deal." I'm like, "That is a deal, dude. It's brand new. What do you want? Like, you're going to pay like
$150.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you look anywhere from $140 to $150 for a router like that. Unless somebody's...
You tried $80 and it still
I did.
wouldn't go.
I did try $80 and he still wouldn't. People are like, "Oh, it's too much."
$80 for it.
I mean, if you want it, I'll ship it to you for $80. Not a big deal. It's just
I don't need it.
I don't use it, but I don't ever use it. I've gone through probably 3 of those things. So before I knew that brushes, like when I was dumb, when I first started the whole CNC thing, my router went out one time, and I was like, "Oh man, the router died. Better get a new one." Instead of buying brushes for it, I ended up cutting the cord and pulling it out of the gantry. I'm like, "Well, this thing's junk," and I went and got a new one.
I have that router.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you do, don't you? Yeah.
It's like, "Do you want this?" I'm like, "Sure." I bought a new cord, that new router.
Yeah, I really jacked up on that one. So, but I didn't know that you had to change brushes out, and then I did a little bit of research, and I was like, "Man, I'm pretty dumb." So,
I did the same thing.
Oh god.
Sorry, I did the same thing. I first got my CNC. It was like, I don't know. I don't think a month later. I must have been running that thing hardcore, but I messaged Nick. I'm like, "My router died. It's not working."
No working.
Change the brushes.
it's not hard. I mean, so I'll tell you this: if you do it the way it's supposed to be done, and the 611s, and don't take that spring completely off, it's not hard to change those brushes out. If you remove that, once you take that spring off, all bets are off, man. So, because it's like one of them coil springs, it's all the way wrapped around, and then, but yeah. But so do you check your brushes often?
No, I don't.
No, do you like? They're supposed to be good. Well, they're supposed to be good for about 100 hours on the 611 of runtime. And what I would do was I would try and add up the jobs that I've done and see if I was getting close. Once I start hitting 75, I would start checking my brushes more often to make sure
you put
that
a lot more thought into your shop than I do.
Well, it's not hard. Well, if it's on the X-Carve, it's not hard to just pull the top off the router and look. You can pull one of the brushes out and look. Most of the time, those brushes wear pretty evenly, so you can kind of gauge whether or not it's ready to replace. But the first set of brushes I remember pulling out they were down to the nub. I was like, man, you should probably blow out your router too, by the way, if you haven't.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about just the top. I'm just the tip. I'm talking about everything. You blow out the collet area, pull the collet completely off, blow it out, because that's what that'll affect your performance as well.
Yeah, like if you're trying to put a bit in and you tighten it, and it's really not tight because all it is tight around all the crap that's compacted in there, and your bit starts to slip out, and then your Shapeoko starts to eat whatever it is you're carving.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
So, okay, when I was new to CNC, when I just gotten my Shapeoko, listen, first of all, I didn't know what a spring collet was. This was before then even. I had the one with just like the four prongs, and then it tightens down. Well, I had done so much with the thing that I had a bunch of wood debris up in the collet, and I was using a 1/4-inch bit. Well, I smoked this thing on there, and I was like, "Oh, that's tight." Yeah, I'm sitting there making passes, and kind of similar. I'm not going to go too far into what might have happened, but we'll just know that a piece went flying into my garage door, and there was a nice big scorch mark on the piece of wood that flew into the garage door. and the machine was crashing all at the same time. So it was great. And the bit was like dangling for dear life when I pulled it out. So yeah, very important.
So Snyder Custom Woodwork just said that he thinks that a router table is a great investment when first starting out. And I agree. I fully agree. You can get it's so versatile. And
a router table that you're going to actually use, though, because I personally bought the Bosch, tabletop router table, and when I put it on any of my workbenches, it was like up here. I'm not going to use it there, and I'm not going to use it on the ground. I didn't start utilizing a router table until I put one in my table saw, and I use that thing all the time. It was a great investment, and like I wish I would have done it a lot sooner.
If you have the patience for it, one of those tabletop router tables is fine, because to adjust the up and down on the elevation of the bit, sometimes it's a real pain because you're dealing with a plunge. Yeah, you need like a router lift. I know Rockler makes an affordable router lift, and you can actually like put it on other tables, not just the Rockler table.
Jessam makes a good one too.
I love my Jessam.
They make top of the line though. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Well, they make 3 different ones. You got 1, 2, and 3, and I got a 2, and it's great. The third one's obviously the better one, but no complaints. That thing has worked for me every time. And a lot of adjustments.
Have you gotten the muscle chuck yet?
No, I don't need it.
That thing scares me.
Are you serious?
I honestly
I've never had any trouble.
I have my muscle chuck, and this is when I had the Porter cable running in the table. I put that thing on there, and I spooled it up, and it sounded like that thing was going to take off. I was like,
and you're seeing
Nick, is this thing supposed to sound loud?
So the muscle, for those of you who don't know, musclechuck.com, check them out. They have a chuck that attaches to your router, and it's essentially a collet that tightens with a Allen key instead of both of the wrenches, and it makes pulling out 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch bits, whatever diameter bit you're using, a heck of a lot easier for bit changes on your router table. Now, I ran into a problem with it to where I had it on my router table, and when I would lower my router table or my router lift down, it was not lowering to where I needed it to be because the chuck stands so tall off the router. So I guess it just depends on the combination of the lift you have or the height that your router's mounted inside the lift. But overall, though, I give it a 9 out of 10 for a must-have on a router table.
You know who doesn't use a router table?
Who's that?
Ben for Beach Time Woodwork.
Yeah?
So Ben asked me, so he's been to my shop a few times, and I always pull my pieces off. I throw them on the router table, and everything's good, right? Because to me, it's just faster.
Mm-hmm.
Not for Ben, though. Ben CNCs all of his edges. He does roundovers. He does chamfers. He does all that stuff. He knows, yes, so he can program all his files. So everything you see him make with a chamfer, a roundover, any of that stuff, he's doing that on a CNC.
Does he have a bit changer, auto bit changer, or
no? So he uses the touch probe mechanism that comes with his machine, and I have this, the same touch, not the same, but a similar touch probe. And all you do is when you're doing your bit changes, it gives, and this is learning where learning G code was pretty helpful. When the machine is given an M6 command, which is your bit change, it'll pull the router up. It'll do its whole thing. It'll say, okay, re-zero or attach probe. You do it, it touches off, and then it goes about his business. But yeah, he does everything via CNC, not a router table in sight. Actually, he has a router table, but I think it's still in the box. So
I know somebody else like that.
Yeah.
Oh, please don't tell me we're talking about that freaking dovetail jig or that.
Okay. I would go to his house and just open the box. It bothers me. Like, it shouldn't bother me this much, but it bothers me. Like, who does that?
We're talking about AJ, if you don't know. AJ still has... Well, does he start using his laser yet?
No. Yes.
AJ's got this Ferrari in his garage, and he's still using a diode laser.
he was giving me crap because like I had some stuff on top of mine and I made a comment in a story. I'm like, look, I'm already putting stuff on it. And then he messaged me like instantly and goes, see, it's a table too. I'm like, yeah, but I'm using mine.
So there's nothing wrong. Now let me get this like let me clear the air here. I said he's still using a diode laser. Yes, there's nothing wrong with using a diode laser. We all started there, but AJ has an 80 watt, I believe, CO2
60.
Laser. 60? No, he's got an 80. He's got the 80. He's got the better one. And he's using his diode still. I'm like, man, AJ, you'd be done in no time,
Yeah, it's a game changer. I mean, like I haven't dialed mine in. Like for the most part, it came aligned, but I'm having trouble cutting through material. But like I said, engraving's working great. Like
you're having trouble cutting through material?
Yeah.
With 100 watt?
There's more to it than just power, folks. We all know that.
You have.
Did you focus it?
Yeah, I haven't focused it yet.
Oh, you haven't?
Focus is I haven't done any calibration with it. I basically got it going. I got stuff engraved because I basically was relying on this thing to come in so I can get rid of the other lasers. But it's doing what I needed to do right now. I can cut through stuff at a certain power level. I have realized that I was using, I think, inches per second. Basically, when I was talking to Nat, he was like, do 300 for the speed and 10 for this. And yeah, that ain't going to work. Long story short, I still have some calibration to go. I still have to set up Lightburn a little bit. That's all actually happening tomorrow as the CNC goes. And then I had to do some cutting to get some flag boxes complete. But yeah, it's coming along. I'm really enjoying the laser experience so far. Definitely makes it easier.
I think, Josh, honestly, man, your stuff's probably aligned pretty well. Saying stop. Your stuff's probably aligned fairly well. You just need to do a ramp test, man.
Ramp test.
That way you can get your laser dialed into a needle point rather than a pen point.
Do you have autofocus?
Yes.
All right, so stop using your autofocus, do the ramp test, and then measure the distance between the material that you're cutting or your laser's touching. Yeah. So then just use that distance every time.
But now I did figure something out. I just got to confirm, but I did figure out how to reprogram the Ruido controller to focus to the specific height. So when I figure that out, I'll let you guys know.
How'd you figure out that little gem?
By accident.
I don't know if you know
that guy here.
He's a bit of a sorcerer.
Yeah, I pushed a button by accident, and I was like, wait, what's that? Focus, autofocus length. What's this?
Yeah.
Why is it set to... Oh, no way. It was one of those moments.
Nice. Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. I'm going to go do that. I have a little puck that I use that's a custom-made puck. Originally, Nat made me one, and then I crashed my laser head, so I had to remake one. Oh, man. Anyway. But
good times. Good times all around.
Yeah, so... But this episode has been brought to you by PWN CNC, your headquarters for aftermarket spindle kits, as well as dust boots and all that jazz. Check them out, pwncnc.com. Daniel over there is amazing. So if you have any questions about his product, shoot him an email. He'll get right back with you. For 5% off your purchase at PWN CNC, use promo code Sawdust Nation 981. And we'd also like to thank Total Boat for their continued support. Check them out for that epoxy at totalboat.com. And if you're interested in a 10% off promo code for the epoxy at Total Boat, go ahead and slide into the Sawdust Nation Podcast DMs. We will hook it up. And last but not least, to all our patron members, thank you so much for supporting this podcast. You guys keep us rolling. And we can't wait till you see what we have in store for you for our 100th episode. And
it's going to be so much fun.
It's going to be a show, but otherwise it's going to
But it's going to be a fun show.
Hey, you know what? He's not wrong.
Nap. No, by the way, Nap was telling me, he's like, "We're just going to do it in my garage, man." I'm like, "Cool. Is it going to be hot in there?" He's like, "I got fans." I'm like, "I already went through that."
That ain't going to work.
Fans.
Great episode, guys.
Yeah, well, you won't be able to hear us because I remember when I first got to Texas, I was doing my recording in the garage. For one, my internet doesn't reach that well out there. For two, I had fans going on, and they're like, "We can't hear you. There's just too much humming going on." So
you see him sweating.
I was sweating. I was sweating bullets out there,
looking like Ace Ventura in the back of a rhino.
That's right. That's right. I think we got to thank everybody else as well. Thank you to everybody who listens to the podcast. You guys keep building the community, and you guys keep supporting us through your listening and questions and all that stuff. So we appreciate it. You keep us gainfully employed with making content, and y'all deserve that. So, Nap.
Oh, hey, podcast stuff. Yeah. So if you're listening to us on the old Apple Podcast, Spotify, unknown Apple apps, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, or any of those things, because there's a whole list here, give us 5 stars. And if you don't give us 5 stars, let us know why, because if you don't give us feedback, we can't give you the content that you deserve. And on that note, make sure y'all are contacting us with awesome questions and things like that. Like, I've gotten like simple little questions here and there from folks, like individually, that weren't podcast specific. One of which was about the epoxy hardener stuff, which is why I kind of brought that up today. So thank you for that. But please give us some questions, give us some awesomeness. Especially think about episode 100, because a lot's happened since episode 50, which was that first milestone that the Sawdust Nation podcast reached before I had even arrived, and we're still here going into episode 100. So
why do you act surprised?
Huh?
You act so surprised.
I mean, no, I'm not surprised. It's just crazy. Like, kind of like Nick said, it's weird. Like, most podcasts don't last that long. So here we are coming up on episode 100. And for the foreseeable, however long. We're
in for the long game, my friend.
Yeah.
In for the long game.
But yeah, if you're going to contact us, Josh, tell us how.
Well, if you want to contact us and chat us up a little bit, you can go ahead and do that with Nick from MPG Creations on Instagram. He's always there to listen to what you have to say. We have Nat from Nap's Nutty Works, LLC. Ask him a question, especially laser related. He loves his lasers. Pew, pew. And then myself, Josh from North Country Woodworking. Always there to chat with you. And then if you want to reach all three of us, which you never know who you're going to get, but you can do that Sawdust Nation Podcast on Instagram as well. And then if you would like to send us pictures or, type up a paragraph for a topic or a question idea, go ahead and reach us at sawdustnationpodcast@gmail.com and hit us up that way as well. But ultimate is become a Patreon in our top tier. Then you can actually tune in with us live as we do these episodes. You can chat while we're talking, ask us questions, and that's the ultimate way to actually get a hold of us, ask questions, and raise topics. But with that, let's go with final words going to Nap.
Yeah, folks. So just like always, this is a community. Keep taking care of each other. Try to be a part of the community. Don't just make withdrawals. Also make those deposits. Make sure you guys are helping each other out in any way that you can. But other than that, I've got like 3 episodes left here in Texas, and then I'll be in Minot, North Dakota. So I'll be needing a lot of encouragement as I make my move. But other than that, keep taking care of each other, folks. Nick.
Oh, like always, take care of yourselves and each other. I'll catch you next time.
Thank you for tuning in for episode 97. We had a great time talking about, the 100th episode, routers, and, what's going on in our shops. Turn the podcast on while you're going to work, while you're in the office, while you're doing chores, while you're in the wood shop. Tune in for episode 100. And with that, Sawdust Nation is signing off. See you next time.
All right.
Joe,
hey, do you guys know how to find a blind man at a nude beach? It's not hard.
Wow.